let's talk about Kevin McCarthy first. You and I talked. I think you had made the point is this is a guy whose entire career was about becoming Speaker of the House. He, of course, it became clear with Johnson that he was never going to get back that Speaker's chair. And when that happened, I think it broke his heart. He has announced he is leaving the House at the end of this year, which is, a bit of a surprise. Your thoughts, first of all, on the whole thing there.
Yes, he announced he's leaving to spend more time with his lobbyists. You know, what a what a pathetic career. I mean, I don't know what else. He got there in 2006. He rose up to leadership. Originally was going to challenge when Boehner stepped down for the to become speaker. He got that they had that little in the end he didn't get it, and he came back because he was willing to do whatever it took to become speaker. And the two things that should be etched on his political gravestone were that after January 6th, he helped rehabilitate Donald Trump when some Republicans are actually speaking out and we're starting to isolate Trump. And Trump really, at that point, for the first time that I had ever seen in politics, needed somebody to bring him a life raft. You know what I mean? Needed somebody to help him. Kevin McCarthy flew down to Mar-a-Lago and took
Yep.
that picture with him, that infamous picture, and helped rehabilitate him so that we're still dealing with him today. And the party followed that lead and jumped aboard on the lies about the election, the lies about January 6th, and the rest, which Liz Cheney, of course, has been talking about lately with
Yeah.
her book and everywhere. And the second thing that should be etched in his gravestone is that political gravestone is that when he realized he couldn't become speaker because the house is filled with a bunch of monkeys flinging feces. I can say that, right? Well, I
Oh,
said
of
it, so
course. Yeah, of course.
there we go. Um,
Based on
he
based on
just
a true story, but by the way, based on a true story.
yes, actually, that is true. The Republicans who broke in there on January 6th did actually wipe feces on the walls because they're great people. Um,
Yes.
so he was willing to make an alliance with one of the most arguably insane, stupid, moronic, conspiratorial. You just think of how you want to describe Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is a deleterious force in everything she touches. And he mainstreamed her, and he did it because she brought along enough of the crazy right to vote for him for speaker. It still took him 15 tries. He
Mhm.
still only lasted, I believe, about 10. No, no, was it 10 or 30 Scaramucci's? You have to do the math on that. But 10 months speakership, 15 tries. Was it worth it? He mainstreamed this person who spoke of Jewish lasers and of Catholics being satanic, of the devil sitting on the Pope's shoulder and whispering in his ear, and God knows Islamophobia and homophobia, and just this awful, terrible person. And he mainstreamed her. And so for Trump and for Marjorie Taylor Greene, he should be remembered forever for that.
The when you look at where the House goes, I mean, right now they desperately want to validate their investigation into Joe Biden and make it seem like he clearly committed some crimes. I mean, NBC went after Comer the other day and just basically made him look like an idiot. And this whole
Oh,
Biden
nobody
thing.
has to make him look like an idiot. I hate to correct you, but
Fair
Comer
statement.
Kyle does a pretty good job himself.
Yeah, fair statement. But they want to desperately do this. They definitely don't have certain Republicans who are going to vote for this because they know that that will be the end of their political career in their
Right.
toss up or even leans Democrat districts. That being said, this makes it even more difficult. I don't know what the California rules are for a special election, but if this is held open until, say, like April, which it quite literally, it very reasonably could be, it might not be till April till they get the replacement. They're not going to have, I mean, you think that they had problems before, it's going to even get worse for them in the US House.
Yeah, here's the fun part, right? With George Santos expelled and Kathy Hochul setting an election for as soon as possible, because that's a D+3 seat that we never should have lost, and now we'll be in great shape to take in February. So that's a two-seat swing, not just one. Bill Johnson here in Ohio stepping down in this corrupt deal where Youngstown State, with no input from the student and faculty and anybody, are making this guy who has no experience in education, who's a Trump supporter, and who an election denier, the head of Youngstown State. So that's one seat they're going to be down here. I don't know how quickly they can have an election here. And I assume in California, Newsom can control the process. The Democrat, it's a very Republican seat. They still likely would win McCarthy's seat, not definitely. So he could push it back if he wanted to. Now, my math tells me, and I didn't major in math, and I'm not very good at it, but if everything I just said happens, the Republicans would have a one seat margin in
Mhm.
the House. That's what they want. Somebody gets a bad cold one day and doesn't show up, or two people do, and the Democrats should just run rampant, take the place over, and vote for everything we ever dreamt of. And so they weren't able to do anything with a 5, 7, whatever vote majority. Anybody think they can do anything with a one vote majority? So yeah, it throws them into complete disarray. And what I love about this is that to me is the pettiness of this.
Mhm.
McCarthy could have done something to help his party and stuck around. But to me, this feels a lot like him looking at the the whatever the like they always change their name. It used to be the Study Committee, now the Freedom Caucus. Who knows whether next week there'll be the Jewish Laser Committee. But you know what? Like whatever the right wing Republican caucus is, he could have done them a favor, stuck around, and kept their margin larger so they could do something. Instead, he's leaving and completely screwing them, which I love.